Hello, this is Peter from Ultra Journeys. Welcome to a session on Alpine style solo hiking as part of the All for Sports webinar series of Decathlon. In this presentation, I want to share some tips on how to plan and navigate your own chosen routes as a solo Alpine style hiker. Before we get to that, let's first go to a small introduction on what exactly is Alpine style and solo hiking. Solo is all about going out all by yourself, just you, yourself, and the wilderness. Here's pictures of a solo hiker in the Dolador, covering the Kaliheni glaciers in the Western Indian Himalayas. Going out by yourself obviously requires a lot of experience, involves inherent risks. Nobody is there to safeguard you or to get rescue in case anything happens. But at the same time, going solo in such an overwhelming landscape can be an enormous rewarding experience, a very kind of meditative journey. It's just you and the wild. There's no socializing with other teammates. You're a much more intrinsic part of your majestic surroundings. What is Alpine style hiking versus the normal commercial group hikes? Obviously, Alpine style is all about self-sufficiency. You're the one that has to take care of everything, including food, gears, and shelter, which obviously you'll have to carry yourself. No porters, no horses. Fitness level has to be in sync with the route plans. A lot of effort will go in trail planning because mostly you're exploring an unknown region. So understanding the terrain, planning the route, choosing the right season, obtaining permits if needed, close to the border. And then, of course, a lot of flexibility as the planned route versus the actual route mostly will not be exactly matching due to various circumstances, including weather, trails which no longer exist, landslides, unforeseen circumstances. Gears is all about preparing, carrying the right gears. I suggest to go a little bit light. Light will make it much easier and much more efficient to hike the mountains. You'll have to take care of the right shoes, right clothing, the right minimalistic shelter, and then sometimes technical gears like poles, ice axe, or micro spikes. I'm not going to go into too much detail. More information on minimalist gears you'll find on my website, ultrajourneys.org. Ultra journeys, my ultra journey is all about going over months-long, 1,000-kilometer long journeys. That is only possible by going minimalist at a fast hiking pace. If you reduce your weight, obviously you're going to go at a higher pace, but the reverse is also true. As you go faster, you'll be able to go much lighter, basically. So it's an intrinsic dual relationship between these two. Reducing your weight will allow you to cover the same traverse in a much shorter distance. By optimizing your gears, go for lightweight gears, invest a little more, optimizing food, optimizing cooking also. You can go for lightweight cooking, no need to carry heavy duty stoves. And then, of course, optimize hydration. A lot of weight can go into carrying liters and liters of water. Again, this is a very specific topic, which I'm not going to go into too much detail. Refer to my website for dedicated webinars on this. So now let's focus on the topic of this webinar being route planning for the Alpine style solo hikers. One important thing is, of course, maps. In order to plan your route, you'll need good maps. There are a couple of maps available for the Indian Western Himalayas, as well as, say, the Sahyadris when we come to the Western Ghats, deep south. One important website is hiking.waymarktrails.org, which has hundreds and hundreds of beautiful trekking routes, both entered by myself in recent years, as well as other independent Alpine hikers. Beauty about OpenStreetMaps is it's a public domain. It's an open platform, also visible to the worldwide hiking community. Anyone can contribute, anyone can freely access. You'll find full details there on the trails like distance, total climb, detailed elevation profile, as well as downloadable GPS log. So this is really a good start. Another treasure, I would say, of maps, especially on India and the Indian Himalayas, recently opened up by the government since the Open Map Policy announcement mid-February 2021, is the survey of India's Open Map series. These will have a treasure of trails. Every map Every map time is around 15 by 15 minutes, which comes down to 28 by 28 kilometers. So once you pick the right map, most of these are downloadable for Uttarakhand and Himachal. Have high details, have settlements, have trails, have paths, have roads, temples, lakes, springs, a lot of useful information, potential campsites. All these dotted lines here in red, you can see our beautiful trails, which are mostly unknown from most of the hiking community. Downloadable from this website, surveyofindia.government.in. In addition to maps like OpenStreetMaps and survey maps, you also have hiking databases. One of them pretty well known, at least for touristic trails, not for the lesser known routes, is Rambler, as well as wikilog.com, where individual users again can upload recorded trails and share them with the hiking community. You'll see elevation profiles. You can download GPX files, GPS logs, which you can use for your own navigation. Not too much of a fan of these private platforms, though. Any time I would prefer an open platform like OpenStreetMaps, which will also have a much larger footprint worldwide, as there are so many websites and mobile navigation apps using OSM as a base map. A lot of my mapping also happens through high-res satellite maps, here Google Maps or Microsoft Bing Sat Maps or ESTRI Maps, something. A lot of high-res maps these days are available from different map sources, which if you zoom in at a pretty high level, you will see individual trails here, as long as there's not too much of vegetation or snow covered. You'll see artifacts, human settlements or forts in this case, which allow you to explore unmapped regions. Google Maps is also very useful. In Google Maps, even though the standard Google Maps is only useful for, I would say, the cities and the highways, as long as you're on the road, you're fine. Once you go in the mountains beyond the road, I don't think Google Maps has as much use, but you can create your own maps in My Location of Google Maps, where you can draw trails that you got from these satellite maps. You can import trails which you got from Rambler, from Wikilog, from the survey, from OpenStreetMaps, and kind of plan your own journey, put waypoints, put trails together in a consolidated map, then export this map to an KML file, which you will allow to carry offline in your phone for navigation. Another very useful resource is my own ultrajourneys.org. I've been pretty busy, as I said, mapping the Western Himalayas in high detail in the lockdown of last year. I've now more than 75,000 kilometers of trails, 30,000 hamlets mapped, more than 2,000 passes and 700 glacial lakes across Uttarakhand, Himachal, Ladakh, Jammu and Kashmir, and Zanskar. So check out my blog, contact me personally if you want to explore some of these lesser known regions. Once you did your route planning, it's time to navigate. So how do you navigate in the field? A couple of useful tools here. My favorite tool over the last couple of years on my Trans-Himalayan explorations is the app called OSM AND, OpenStreetMaps for Android, which is basically an offline navigation app. Allows you to basically download maps from any state in India, download contours, thanks to a small plugin in the second slide, and then overlay your hiking trails there, which you got from any of the previously mentioned maps on top of this to get a very consistent view, essential for offline navigation out of the mobile network. OSM is a very performant tool. I download thousands and thousands of kilometers of hiking routes on this, which I use over months, and the tool is very performant, very fast to use. OSM has a plugin called Contours, which I think is essential for any hikers. Contours is all about understanding the terrain, especially when you go to the mountains. It's all about the steepness, the topography. So the ability to have contours in your hand offline, even if you're in the mountains away from the mobile network, is very essential to plan your trail once you get off track in certain scenarios. Once you lose the trail, the contour map allows you to kind of navigate off track by finding the right ridge or the right valley with gradual ascent or descent. Any hiker exploring trails, I would strongly recommend or request to contribute back to the open community. meaning OpenStreetMaps. Drop these private databases, add your GPS recordings while exploring in these open source public domain databases like waymarked hiking trails. Here you can see the Sahyadris north of Mumbai, where one of my friends who has helped me a lot with mapping of the Himalayas has uploaded lots and lots of hiking trails to some 200 plus forts in the Sahyadris, which can now be seen by any worldwide hiker. Even anyone going on a business trip to Mumbai can check OSM and see that there is a lot of outdoor hiking opportunity nearby work. You can also check my website, ultrajourneys.org, which has, as well as my YouTube channel, Van Gep, which has hundreds of webinars, maps, navigation boot camps on various topics like the Himalayas, Alpine style hiking, minimalism, gear reviews, and tutorials on OpenStreetMaps, how to use them, how to contribute them. So this should be enough, I think, to get you started on Alpine style solo hiking. Thanks for watching this webinar. Don't hesitate to contact me in case you want help in planning your Alpine style routes.